You won't believe what just went down in the world of hip-hop. Last night, the entire music industry was thrown into absolute chaos after rumors exploded that Kendrick Lamar, the poetic genius himself, has made a decision that nitrogen monoxide saw coming. Fans woke up to a frenzy of social media posts, wild DimeZ, and non-stop trending hashtags, all because Kendrick didn't just make a move, he made a statement. That's right. After weeks of cryptic Instagram stories, mysterious backstage arguments, and a string of canceled joint appearances, Kendrick Lamar has officially left SZA behind and is jetting off on a jaw-dropping, never-before-seen Latin American tour with none other than Argentina's hottest duo, Paco Amoroso and CA7RIE. People are calling this the ultimate betrayal, and SZA's camp is not staying silent. Insiders are leaking that heated texts were exchanged, backstage doors were slammed, and some say SZA was left in literal tears after learning about Kendrick's new partnership, especially since everyone expected their collab tour to dominate the summer. But the drama is only just beginning, because Paco and CA7RIE are already teasing major surprises, while SZA's loyal fans are vowing to cancel Kendrick for good. What could possibly have gone so wrong between Kendrick and SZA? Why did he choose to risk it all for a controversial new alliance? The answers are more shocking than you think, so don't blink, because this story is about to get wild. It all started on a humid Friday evening. It's a kind of night where the city hums with energy and secrets. SZA was backstage at what was supposed to be the year's biggest SZA joint tour launch with Kendrick Lamar. The buzz had been unreal for weeks. Every hip-hop fan on edge to see these two titans finally share a stage. SZA stood at her mirror, headphones in, humming to herself, rehearsing the lyrics they'd written together. She felt a blend of nerves and excitement, not just for the performance, but for what this tour represented. For SZA, it was a chance to prove that she and Kendrick could change the sound of hip-hop forever. Little did she know, the world outside was already shifting beneath her feet. Rumors had started swirling hours earlier. Someone had spotted Kendrick at LAX wearing a simple black hoodie, boarding a flight to Argentina, not New York, not Los Angeles, but Buenos Aires. The news raced through group chats, stan accounts, and the press like wildfire. People whispered, was Kendrick bailing? Was there a fight? Or was this just another PR stunt? The suspense only grew when HAS manager rushed into her dressing room, phone in hand, face pale. Have you seen this? He whispered, shoving the screen in front of her. SZA stared at the headline. Kendrick Lamar leaves for Latin America. Cancels tours with SZA. Her heart stopped for a second. The words felt like a punch to the gut. She blinked, trying to steady her voice. He wouldn't, she said quietly. He can't. Not without telling me. But as the clock ticked closer to showtime, Kendrick's team remained silent. No texts, no calls. SZA checked her phone again and again, hope turning to dread. Outside, fans started chanting, wondering where Kendrick was. Inside, chaos brewed. Producers whispered about refunds. Dancers paced nervously, and Che's family tried to calm her down, but nothing worked. Finally, just minutes before she was set to hit the stage alone, an anonymous post on Twitter went viral, a grainy video of Kendrick at the Buenos Aires airport, surrounded by excited fans, grinning ear to ear as he hugged Paco Amoroso and CA7RIE, two of Latin America's fastest rising stars. The internet broke. Comments flooded in from every corner of the globe. Did Kendrick really ditch SZA for a Latin tour? This is wild. Is hip-hop over? Why would he do this to her? Suddenly, everything SZA thought she knew was in question. She sat in her dressing room, staring at the screen, her hands shaking. Her brother, who'd flown in for the tour, tried to reassure her. Maybe it's a misunderstanding, he said softly. But SZA shook her head, tears stinging her eyes. He promised me, she whispered, barely audible. Meanwhile, halfway across the world. Kendrick touched down in Argentina, greeted by a frenzy of reporters and flashing cameras. His face was unreadable, but insiders say he looked tense. Not just from the long flight, but from the firestorm brewing back home. Paco Amoroso, with his wild energy and infectious laugh, clapped Kendrick on the back. "We're about to make history, hermano," he said, pulling him into a tight embrace. CA7RIE, cool and collected, simply nodded. "Let's give them a show they'll never forget." Back in Los Angeles, the fallout was immediate. Hip-hop. Blogs posted non-stop updates, fans argued online. And HAS followers rallied around her, posting old videos of the duo and calling out Kendrick for his betrayal. SZA's label scrambled to control the damage, pushing out statements that only made things messier. Creative differences, they wrote, but nobody believed it. TikTok exploded with theories, some blaming Paco and CA7RIE for stealing Kendrick. Others claiming SZA was always meant to go solo. As the night wore on, SZA finally decided to perform alone. She walked on stage to a wall of screams and phone flashes, her heart pounding in her chest. Every lyric felt heavier, every note tinged with pain. Midway through her set, she stopped, voice trembling, and addressed the crowd. "Sometimes life throws you off your path," she said, trying to hold back tears. "But music is the only thing that never leaves you." The arena erupted in applause, but behind her smile, SZA felt a storm building. When the show ended, she went straight to her hotel, avoiding all press. Her phone still silent except for thousands of notifications from fans demanding answers. Meanwhile, Kendrick, Paco, and CA7RIE held a private jam session in a neon-lit studio in downtown Buenos Aires. Videos leaked almost immediately. Kendrick freestyling in Spanish. Paco and CA7RIE laughing. The trio's chemistry undeniable. Rumors swirled that they were working on an entire surprise album, blending Latin trap with West Coast beats. Kendrick, this was more than a turret, was a reinvention. But inside, even he couldn't shake the guilt. At one point, as Paco played a haunting melody on guitar, Kendrick stepped outside alone, scrolling through his phone, staring at a picture of himself and SZA backstage, arm in arm, smiling before any of this happened. In the days that followed, the media circus only intensified. Everywhere SZA went, paparazzi waited, shouting questions about Kendrick and the breakup. Her family grew protective, her mother insisting she'll take a break from social media, but SZA refused. Instead, she posted a cryptic message on Instagram. "Sometimes the people you trust most are the ones who teach you to stand alone." The post racked up millions of likes, fans, and celebs, alike flooding her with support. In Argentina, Kendrick woke up to headlines calling him cold and calculating, while others praised him as a visionary for embracing global sounds. The divide was clear: Team SZA versus Team Kendrick, and nobody knew how far the rift would go. Just as things seemed like they couldn't get any messier, a new twist emerged. Leaked audio surfaced of an alleged phone call between SZA and Kendrick. The recording was scratchy, voices low, but the pain was unmistakable. "I wish you'd told me." SZA's voice trembled. Kendrick's reply was barely audible. "I had to do what was right for me." The internet went wild, dissecting every second, speculating about hidden meanings, secret deals, and broken promises. The drama had gone global, and as both camps dug in, one thing was clear: the story was just beginning. And nobody knew how it would end. And right at this moment, SZA stared at her phone, hoping for a message that might make sense of it all. Her screen lit up not from Kendrick, but from an unknown number, with a message that would turn the entire saga upside down. Without even thinking, SZA's finger hovered over the message. The sender's number wasn't saved, but the text read, "Meet me tomorrow, noon. Rooftop, just you." There was no signature, no hint of who it might be, but SZA felt a strange chill. Was this a threat, a peace offering, or just another twist in a saga that already felt unreal. Her heart raced as she weighed the risks, wondering if she should go alone or bring someone. Finally, curiosity got the better of her, and she decided she had to know. After a sleepless night filled with swirling thoughts, she woke up early, threw on sunglasses and a hoodie, and slipped out the back entrance of her hotel. Paparazzi were already lurking, their cameras ready, but she managed to evade them and took a cab across the city. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Kendrick was starting his day in Buenos Aires. Social media had exploded overnight. Every other post was about the tours, SZA, and that mysterious phone call. Even as Paco Amoroso and CA7RIE tried to keep things light, Kendrick's mood was off. He stared at his breakfast, poking at it absently, lost in his thoughts. "You good, man?" Paco finally asked, breaking the silence. Kendrick forced a smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Tired, that's all?" CA7RIE watched him closely, sensing there was more. "Sometimes, when you make big moves, there's a big price," she said quietly, her tone serious for the first time all morning. As noon approached, found herself on the rooftop of a nondescript building, wind whipping through her hair. The city stretched out below her, endless and loud. She was about to give up when the door behind her creaked open. To her utter disbelief, it was not Kendrick, but Paco Amoroso himself. He walked out slowly, hands in his pockets, sunglasses, hiding his eyes. "You came," he said softly, switching to flawless English. SZA stiffened, her guard instantly up. "Why are you here? What do you want?" Paco gave a sad little smile. "I wanted to tell you face to face. None of this was supposed to happen this way. I'm sorry for what you're going through." SZA looked away, blinking back tears. "He was my friend. We were supposed to change everything together." Paco sat down next to her, the city noise humming below. Sometimes people need to find themselves before they can help anyone else. Kendrick, he's searching for something new. He thinks this tour will give him answers. SZA shook her head, frustration in her voice. "Answers? Or an escape?" she asked. Paco looked at her, understanding in his eyes. "Maybe both." There was a heavy pause before Paco reached into his jacket and handed her a ticket. "If you want to come to the show tonight as my guest, you'll see the truth. Maybe it won't change anything, but at least you'll know." SZA hesitated, torn between her pride and her desperate need for closure. Finally, she took the ticket, tucking it into her pocket. Back at the rehearsal hall, Kendrick was running through soundcheck with CA7RIE and Paco, but his mind was elsewhere. His phone buzzed with messages, fans, family, even industry giants like Dr. Dre and J. Cole, all wanting answers. CA7RIE noticed his distraction and pulled him aside. "Are you sure you're ready for this?" she asked, her voice low. Kendrick hesitated, then nodded. "I have to be. Too many people are watching. Now." CA7RIE squeezed his shoulder, offering silent support. The pressure was intense, and every move they made was being scrutinized online. Backstage, the team whispered about SZA, wondering if she'd crash the show or stay away as the sun set. Crowds gathered outside the venue in Buenos Aires, buzzing with excitement and speculation. Inside, Kendrick paced his dressing room, staring at himself in the mirror. Memories of his partnership with SZA haunted him late-night writing sessions. Inside jokes, the way they dreamed about reshaping the music industry together. Part of him wanted to pick up the phone to call her and explain everything, but he couldn't find the words. Instead, he wrote a short verse in his notebook, something raw and painful, unsure if he'd ever share it. Across the city, SZA debated her next move. Her brother called, begging her not to go. "They don't deserve your energy," he insisted. But SZA felt a need to see for herself. That night, she slipped quietly into the crowd at the arena, her face hidden beneath a hat. Nobody recognized her as she made her way to her seat, heart pounding in her chest. The lights dimmed and the crowd erupted as Kendrick took the stage with Paco and CA7RIE. The energy was electric, fans screaming, cameras flashing, the entire arena buzzing with anticipation. From the first note, it was clear this was no ordinary show. Kendrick, Paco, and CA7RIE were a force of nature together, blending genres in ways nobody had ever seen. But even as the music soared, there was a tension, a sense that something was missing. Halfway through the set, Kendrick paused, microphone trembling in his hand. He looked out at the sea of faces, his eyes searching, lost. "Sometimes when you chase greatness, you leave things behind," he said quietly, his words echoing through the arena. "But some things you never forget." For a split second, his gaze landed on SZA, hidden in the crowd, and their eyes locked. The moment was electric, charged with unsaid words and old pain. SZA felt tears stinging her eyes, the betrayal and love mixing in a way she'd never known before. Around her, the crowd was oblivious to the emotional earthquake that was shaking both artists to their core. As the show ended in a frenzy of confetti and applause, SZA slipped away unnoticed, her heart heavier than ever. Outside, reporters swarmed, desperate for a comment, but she vanished into the night, leaving the world to wonder what really happened between her and Kendrick. Backstage, Kendrick slumped in a chair, exhausted and conflicted. Paco and CA7RIE celebrated with the team, but Kendrick barely spoke. Finally, he grabbed his phone and dialed Chase's number. It rang and rang, but she didn't pick up. Across the city, SZA stared at her own phone, willing herself not to answer. She needed time. Both artists were at a crossroads, one chasing a new dream, the other trying to heal a broken one. And as dawn broke over Buenos Aires, the world was left hanging, desperate for the next chapter in the most sensational drama hip-hop had seen in years. As the sun rose over Buenos Aires, the city was already buzzing about the spectacle that had unfolded the night before. Social media was flooded with clips from the concert, each one dissected and debated by millions of fans. Everywhere you looked, the headlines screamed betrayal and heartbreak. Kendrick leaves SZA in the dust. Is this the end of a legendary partnership? CA7RIE and Kendrick, new kings of the scene. Every fan base had taken sides, and the drama wasn't dying down. Back in her hotel room, SZA watched the videos in silence. Every moment replayed in her mind: the lights, the cheers, the brief raw glance Kendrick had sent her way. She wondered if he'd known she was there, if he'd felt her pain cutting through the noise of the crowd. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Friends, family, even people she hadn't spoken to in years were reaching out with messages of support and curiosity. But what she wanted most, a real explanation from Kendrick, still hadn't come. Meanwhile, Kendrick barely slept. He was haunted by guilt and uncertainty, replaying the night in his mind, the words he'd said on stage echoing back at him. Paco tried to keep things upbeat, inviting everyone to a post-show breakfast in a sunny local cafe. CA7RIE was all smiles, already posting stories and teasing new projects. But Kendrick kept glancing at his phone, hoping for a message that never came. As the group sat around the table, Paco leaned in. "That was the wildest show I've ever played. Did you feel the energy?" Kendrick nodded, but his answer was distant. "It was something else, but it's not finished." "Not really." CA7RIE, picking up on his mood, asked gently, "Do you regret it?" Kendrick hesitated. "I regret hurting people, but I can't regret the music. This is what I was meant to do." His voice was quiet, but everyone could hear the weight behind it. That afternoon, SZA finally left her hotel room, donning a disguise and slipping through a back exit. She needed air, clarity, anything to make sense of the whirlwind her life had become. She wandered through the city, lost in thought, until she ended up in a small record shop near the park. As she browsed the aisles, her phone buzzed with a call from her manager. "Everyone wants an interview," he said, his voice urgent. "Ellen, GMO, even Rolling Stone. What do you want to do?" SZA took a deep breath. I need to talk to Kendrick first. Need to hear his side before I say anything to the world. Her manager sighed, I'll see what I can do. But the press is hungry, and they're not. Going to wait forever? As SZA hung up, a young fan approached her, eyes wide. Are you SZA? The girl whispered. SZA hesitated, then nodded, and the girl smiled shyly. I just wanted to say, you helped me so much. Your music. It saved me. For a moment, SZA felt a flicker of hope. She signed an autograph, hugged the girl, and walked back out into the sunshine, determined to find some closure at the same time. In a sleek high-rise apartment overlooking the city, Kendrick was meeting with Paco and CA7RIE's management. The air was thick with tension as contracts were reviewed, tour plans debated, and international dates locked in. But Kendrick's mind was elsewhere, thinking about all the bridges he might have burned. As the meeting ended, Paco pulled him aside. You can't run from your past, hermano. If you need to make peace, do it. Otherwise, it'll haunt every song you write. Kendrick looked at Paco, realizing he was right. That night, Kendrick sat alone on the balcony, phone in hand, composing a message to SZA. He wrote and deleted dozens of drafts, searching for the words to explain everything: his need to grow, the pressure he'd felt, the allure of something new, and the pain of leaving her behind. Finally, he settled on a simple message. I'm sorry. If you want to talk, I'll be at the cafe by the river tomorrow at noon. He hit send, heart pounding, not knowing if she'd reply. Meanwhile, rumors spread that SZA was about to drop a surprise diss track, her fans hyping it up as the clapback of the year. Snippets leaked online raw, fiery lyrics that seemed to cut right at the heart of the betrayal. I built you up. You left me down, found your new crowd. I'm still in this town. The internet exploded, half the world waiting to see if SZA would really go there. In the early morning, as the city began to wake, SZA got the message. She read it over emotions swirling, anger, longing, confusion. After a long moment, she finally replied, I'll be there. The world didn't know it yet, but another chapter in this wild story was about to unfold. One that would bring all the emotions, accusations, and drama into a single, unforgettable confrontation. And just like that, everyone was waiting to see what would happen next, as the sun rose on a new day full of unresolved questions and the promise of even more shocking twists. The city felt different that morning, buzzing with attention no one could quite name. By the time noon crept up, SZA was already on her way to the cafe by the river, nerves fraying with every step. The streets of Buenos Aires seemed to echo her thoughts, everything bright and alive on the surface. But underneath, something unsettled. She wore simple clothes, no makeup, her hair pulled back, but she still caught glances as she passed. Even in a foreign city, her energy was magnetic, and everyone seemed to sense she was on the verge of something big. Kendrick was already at the cafe, sitting at a corner table by the window, stirring his coffee with a trembling hand. He looked out over the water, his thoughts spinning in circles. He replayed every moment of the last few weeks, the decision to leave, the feeling of creative freedom with Paco and CA7RIE, the guilt that gnawed at him every night. When SZA walked in, everything else fell away. The world shrank to just the two of them. She sat down across from him, not saying a word at first. The silence was heavy, but not hostile, just packed with all the things left unsaid. Finally, Kendrick spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. I'm sorry. I know I should have told you. I needed something different, something that scared me. But I never wanted to hurt you. SZA's eyes glistened, but she kept her composure. You didn't just hurt me, Kendrick. You broke a promise, left when we were supposed to take over the world together. She leaned forward, hands clasped tight. Do you know what it's like reading headlines about you and some new crew while I'm alone on stage? Do you know what that did to me? Kendrick winced. I do now, and I'm sorry. I didn't realize how deep it would cut. I got caught up in the idea of something new, and I thought I was making the right move for me. but I never wanted you to feel abandoned. You deserve better than that." There was a pause, tension twisting between them. Che's voice was softer now, almost a whisper. "Was any of it real, or was it just music for you?" Kendrick reached across the table, desperate to bridge the gap. "It was real. It's all of it. You know me better than anyone else in this business." But I lost myself chasing the next big thing. Outside, people walked by, oblivious to the storm of emotions swirling inside the cafe. The waiter came by and set down glasses of water, but neither touched them. Kendrick leaned back, sighing. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I just needed to say it to your face. Whatever you do next, I'll support you. You're one of the greatest ever, with or without me." SZA nodded, wiping away a single tear. "I'm not sure what comes next, Kendrick. Part of me wants to torch it all and walk away, but part of me wants to prove I can survive without you, too." She managed a small, sad smile. Maybe that's what all of this is about. Finding out who we are when we're on our own. Their conversation drifted into memories, late-night studio sessions, wild tour nights, inside jokes that only made sense to them. For a few minutes, they laughed through the pain to artists who understood each other in ways no one else could. But the weight of the moment always came back. Kendrick finished his coffee and stood up. "Whatever happens, I'm rooting for you, even if we're not on the same stage anymore." SZA stood, too, and for a brief second, they hugged, a moment of warmth in the middle of the wreckage. Neither wanted to let go, but both knew they had to. As she left the cafe, SZA felt lighter and heavier at the same time. Part of her wanted to run, to disappear from the mess and noise. But another part, the one that had always fought for every note, every lyric, every stage, burned with new determination. She pulled out her phone, scrolling through messages from her team. They wanted to know her next move. Meanwhile, Kendrick returned to his hotel feeling raw but relieved. For the first time in weeks, he felt honest. When he walked in, Paco and CA7RIE were waiting. CA7RIE raised an eyebrow. "So, how did it go?" Kendrick managed a weak smile. "It's complicated, but I think it's what we both needed." Clapped him on the back. "Ready to make some history, hermano?" Kendrick nodded, but this time with a steadier heart. He'd faced the pain, owned his mistakes, and now, maybe, he could move forward. The world didn't know it yet. But this wasn't just a feud. It was a turning point for everyone involved. And as the news of their meeting leaked online, fans everywhere held their breath, desperate to see what SZA and Kendrick would do next. Rumors swirled that a surprise collab might still be possible, while others whispered about a rivalry that would redefine hip-hop for a generation. One thing was clear: this story was far from over. And as both artists stared down the future, the entire industry watched, waiting for the next verse, the next battle, the next big reveal. The next few days unfolded like a fever dream. Everywhere SZA went in Buenos Aires, cameras followed. Rumors swirled that she and Kendrick were secretly working on a final song together, a farewell track to close out their era. Others claimed she was already back in the studio alone, pouring her heartbreak into a new album with lyrics sharper than ever. Her fans waited for every clue, analyzing her social posts and looking for secret messages in every caption. Even casual photos of her walking through the city with headphones on went viral. Headlines speculating about her comeback energy. Kendrick, meanwhile, threw himself into rehearsals with Paco and CA7RIE. Their tour was a phenomenon before it even began, sold-out stadiums, magazine covers, and talk show invites. Yet, despite the frenzy, Kendrick often found himself zoning out during sound checks, thinking about all he'd left behind. Every time Paco burst into a new verse or CA7RIE nailed a chorus, Kendrick wondered if he'd made the right choice. But when the three of them performed together, there was an undeniable magic. The crowd fed off their energy, and for a few precious hours, Kendrick let himself get lost in the music. On the night of their first major show, the The stadium was packed with fans from every corner of the world. Reporters jostled for position outside, hoping for a glimpse of the trio or a dramatic surprise appearance by SZA. Back in her hotel room, SZA watched the concert livestream, emotions warring inside her. At first, she felt a pang of jealousy and loss, but as the show went on, something else stirred a quiet pride. She saw Kendrick commanding the stage, pushing his own boundaries. And she realized she could do the same during a mid-show interlude. Kendrick paused to address the crowd. His voice, usually so confident, was raw with honesty. There are moments in your life when you've got to take risks, even if it hurts, he said. Sometimes, chasing your dream means leaving behind people you love. But you never forget where you came from or who helped you get there. The audience went wild, some cheering, some holding up signs for SZA, others just letting the music wash over them as the concert ended. Paco and CA7RIE hugged Kendrick, and they took their final bow. Afterwards, backstage, Kendrick scrolled through messages on his phone. There was one from SZA, just 4 words: "Thank you for everything." He stared at it for a long time, unsure whether to reply, but feeling a weight lift from his chest. The next morning, SZA made her own announcement on social media. Her video was simple. No music, no special effects, just her sitting by the window, sunlight streaming in. Sometimes life doesn't go the way you planned. But that doesn't mean you stop moving forward. Thank you to everyone who stood by me. This isn't the end, it's a new beginning. Her words hit home for millions, and the comments filled up with love and encouragement. Meanwhile, hip-hop fans everywhere kept the debate alive. Podcasts picked apart every detail, from Kendrick's lyrics to Chase's Instagram stories. Some said Kendrick was a traitor. Others called him a visionary. Shaz fans trended hashtags like Queen Rises Alone, while Kendrick's supporters posted clips of his shows with Paco and CA7RIE, calling it the future of global rap. In a final, unexpected twist, a leaked demo surfaced online, a rough, unfinished song with both Kendrick and Chaz voices, full of longing and bittersweet hope. The internet went wild. Was it an olive branch? The last relic of their partnership? Or just an echo of what could have been? Nobody knew, but it only added to the legend. As summer turned to fall, both artists found their footing in new ways. Kendrick's Latin tours shattered records, bringing him new audiences and creative fuel. SZA's new album, written in the wake of it all, dropped without warning and climbed straight to #1. The music world had been rocked by their fallout. But in the end, both emerged stronger, more honest, and more determined than ever to shape their own destinies. For the fans, the drama would never really be over. They made memes, theories, edits, and playlists, reliving every twist and turn. But for Kendrick and SZA, there was a new piece. They had faced heartbreak, betrayal, and public chaos, but survived. Now, each on their own path, they looked forward with a sense of hope and freedom that only comes after the storm. After all, the drama, heartbreak, and shocking twists. One thing is clear, this story has changed everything in the world of hip-hop. What began as a partnership between Kendrick Lamar and SZA turned into a wild roller coaster ride of emotions, public fallout, and bold new beginnings. Fans watched their heroes push boundaries, face betrayals, and chase dreams, no matter how messy things got. In the end, both Kendrick and SZA proved that even the deepest wounds can lead to powerful music, growth, and unexpected hope. But now, we want to know what you think. Do you believe Kendrick made the right decision by leaving SZA behind for a risky new chapter with Paco Amoroso and CA7RIE? Should SZA forgive him, or is it time for her to shine completely on her own? Whose side are you really on? And do you think there's any chance of a future reunion, or have we witnessed the end of an era? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't hold back. This story belongs to all of us, and we want to hear every wild theory and honest feeling you've got? If you loved this deep dive into one of hip-hop's most explosive scandals, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe for more unbelievable celebrity drama, and tap the bell so you never miss an update. Trust us, there's always more to the story and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and remember, in the world of music, anything can happen. So, what would you do if you were in their shoes? Let's get the conversation started right now.